Hi, it's VNL from Think Before You Type, and we're here with David Duane. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank y'all for having me.
We're excited to have you today. So the first question, you're the founder and the CEO of Urban Fierce, which is a PR company. It's pretty amazing. It seems like it's something that you're doing at quite a young age, and you're doing amazing work with that. So can you kind of walk us through what inspired you to get started with all of this?
I tell people all the time it was a gift and a curse. It was definitely an accident. Um, my whole initial journey was just to strictly be a recording artist and pursue dance. I was taking dance classes when I was 6 years old. Still pursuing the music. I have a whole album that's coming out so that people can leave me alone about music. Not that because I don't want to do it. It's because you want to make sure that things come out in the right time, and preparation is so key. Um, but as I was in high school, we had the MySpaces, we had, you know, Facebook, Twitter was just a new thing. We didn't have Instagram yet. And I was into all these different artists that Diddy was working with. And Danny Kane was one. So during that Making the Band 2 whole experience, I was like, I'm going to create like a radio show on Blog Talk Radio. This is before they even charged you, right? Now they charge you. So taking it way, 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 way back. And I was like, okay, let me just interview this person. Let me just interview this person. Let me interview this person. Because I always had a level wanting to be a personality. When we had cassette tapes and the cassette players, I was like, okay, the radio will play this song. Let's record this. Let's do this. Let's do just like a mixtape, everything. The whole nostalgia of, growing up within that time where there was cassette tapes. So in that ending period of the early 2000s, that was me. That's what I love to do. So I connected with a lot of these different artists, and one of those artists from the show was Don Richard, who was in Diddy the King. And from that moment, I was like, let's create a promo team and let's really do this. She had a whole official website, and it was amazing. But I was like, let's really expand what this could be. Let's expand what DRO is. So from that point on, I was working with her. We had the official page. I was the first one until somebody tried to jack the whole thing from me, but I'm still cool with one of those people. And she's still amazing, doing amazing things. I actually saw her and the girls a few years ago when they actually came to Delaware, and I speak to Shannon all the time on Instagram. But yeah, so it was that experience that just kind of provoked everything. And then I was doing stuff with Day 26, their street team. And then while I was promoting Dawn, doing things for Day 26, and then both, Dirty Money had came about with Diddy Dirty Money with Kalina. And so then from that moment, for me just going hard on social media, somebody from Bad Boy reached out to me.
Oh.
Which is crazy. A lot of people don't even know that. I tell the story, that part of the story when I get a chance, because Maggie has to be credited for, Maggie and Mike have to be credited for really seeing my work and being like, wait a minute, who's behind this page? We need to, we need to tap in. He's very knowledgeable. So at this point, I'm only 17.
Oh my goodness, that is incredible.
So 17, and this is all happening, and I'm like, apart now. Back when Bad Boy had their office in New York, just the classic and legendary Bad Boy office, they had a street team, so they asked me to be a part of the ambassador team. So then from that point, I connected with this independent artist who was just getting fresh out of college, who actually was Rotimi. From the show Power, that everybody knows him from, just playing Dre, just being so amazing that he is. So Ro was always that talented. As we're hearing him and seeing him, this is something that he's been doing way before college. But college was that moment where after he graduated, he was like, let's knock him dead. So, and then connecting back to Bad Boy was working with Warner Brother Records at the time. Now they're just Warner, and they have Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
So Bad Boy was just distributing through. So I had then saw the group Sophia Fresh, and I was like, let's do some promo things with them. Then it was like, okay, Babs from the band. Let's do some promo things with them. So I was learning the different things about hashtagging, and this is how a post should look. This is how we should be strategic in this. Okay, this is how the graphic should be. Center it here. I always had an eye, but once I started to get into that world, man, it was crazy. I was just like, okay, it needs to be right aligned with my nose. This needs to be right here. I shouldn't see a speck. Yeah, that might be a little marked, like as if it was like a toothpaste smudge. I should not still see that toothpaste smudge on this graphic. I should only see that on my bathroom mirror, maybe, not on a graphic. So I just learned all those things and just really learn what made sense, and short linking, and just being more general and being more proper. I mean, I actually went to Valley Forge Military Academy in Wayne, Pennsylvania for high school, so I was already proper and bougie as it was. Period. But applying what I knew, and what about them, and what I know about how things should be perceived and read out to people, is how I translated everything. And then it just kind of went from there. Then it was like, okay, cool. Brian from then Day 26 then hooked me up with his PR, CC Vance, who's a good friend of mine, out of Houston at the time. And he was like, look, he wants to learn a little bit more about PR and stuff like that. This is my little bro. You guys could do some things. He's really dope. He's on the rise. So CC kind of showed me a little bit more how to, write the press release, how to write the bios, because I wasn't writing that. And I was like, look, I don't even want to do this. But I had such an eye for business and what talent was, and okay, this is what they should do, and this is how this should be marketed, and this is how it should be promoted. Long-winded answer, but before then, even CC, I was working with a PR that I even had Aisha, who I was watching what she was doing, and then I just kind of, I won't say that I got better than those individuals, but I definitely got a little bit more skillful for how I could market myself and then market more artists. So then I was like, you know what? I was already doing my own thing in that process. Because Urban Fierce wasn't even Urban Fierce then. It was called Fierce Wings Entertainment. So everything was Fierce Wings, which is a whole other brand in itself. My radio platform still has the My Fierce Wings radio, obviously. For those who are watching this and are familiar, for those who aren't watching and familiar, that's the name of my radio platform. And I was like, man, I'm gonna just keep the fierce in there, but we're gonna change some things around and not over beat people in the head. But shout outs to our girl B for having some inspiration to, many different lives, for, just the businesswoman that she is, not even just the artist that she is. But I mean, even that too, it's so inspiring. So, I am Sasha Fierce. We put fierce, and then, we just kind of ran with the fierce part, but I kind of looked at it as such an embodied in statement versus was this feminine, was this masculine. So I made it more masculine and just made it more, I'm fierce, I'm a Taurus. So my instinct is more so edgier than it is to be more softer. Yes, we all have an emotional side to us, but what really defines me? So I was like, let me put that word into something. Let me define it. Urban Fierce. I took urban because I was just like, look, we need to kind of get a little bit more, let's get a little bit more swaggy on them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, group, like, let's be a group.
It's an awesome story, because you really, it sounds like, kind of fell into it and then really worked on building up your skill set, working with some of the things I think that were already part of who you were, some traits that you already had, and just you brought it all together so well. So that's so cool to hear.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been interesting.
It sounds like it has. What do you think the biggest lesson is that you learned about yourself through that whole process?
Patience and demanding exactly what you need. And I would say the patience part, because not everything happens the way that we want it to. And not that I wanted things to happen in such like a quick, rapid speed, because I was always like, this is going to take its time, let God do his work, but also let you do your work and your part as well. A lot of people want this to happen within 2-3 months. I have clients that where they feel like, okay, this should have happened yesterday. I have managers that feel like this should have happened yesterday. But the reality is nothing happens this way. David didn't get verified just yesterday because he was who he was overnight. All things happen in a process. And trusting the process is a big thing. And I kind of did have some hardships with it because even now today, I still see these bigger opportunities or opportunities that are being presented. And it's crazy because I was thinking about it this weekend. And it's weird, but there's a lot of opportunities that are being presented to my fellow industry peers that might be as good as I am, that it might not be as good as I am, but they're doing something right. So for me, I'm seeing that now what I've been doing is right and staying patient in that and just staying here versus looking out there. Because when you're looking out there and what other people are doing, you're never going to be focused. It's always going to be this person's doing this person's doing this person's doing it, this person is doing this. You can still be focused in your regard and see what other people are doing, but don't get distracted. Stay in your car. Because when you're driving the car on the highway, you're not supposed to be looking every which way. So staying in this car and just staying patient has been the biggest thing. Demanding what I want, because I've worked with individuals who feel like, okay, well, this is my budget. Well, guess what? Realistically, if you were working with X, Y, and Z, that would not be what you would tell them because you would not be considered. They'd be like, okay, cool. Well, thanks so much. Let us know when you can afford this, and we'll take it from there. In the real world, there's not much negotiation. It's either this or this. And 9 times out of 10, it has to be that. It can't go anything below. Because once you start hitting below the belt and you're not able to provide for yourself, you're not able to do the things that you need to do, even to run a business. I've suffered because I've not demanded what I needed versus, okay, this person has said, I don't care. I'm sorry. It's very cool to negotiate, but when you tell me that 100 to 250 is what you have, and this is no shade, but this is the truth. If you're telling me that's what you have to work with, then you have some more work to do, an investment on yourself.
I think it's amazing. I think you definitely learned a lot about yourself through the process, and like a lot of what you said is applicable to people outside of the entertainment industry as well. I think it's awesome. So as you mentioned during your other answer, you have your own radio show. And you talked a little bit about how you got into that. So what is your favorite part about that side of your work?
The favorite side of it is because since I have such a personality that everybody can see, like when they can actually get me to talk, because I'm actually shy crazy enough, but a lot of people don't believe it because I'm so outgoing and stuff like that. But I'm very weary. I'm very protective of myself because I do manage myself. I'm like a one-man team realistically, and then in actuality. So I'm very I don't know about this person. What are you selling? No, we don't do that over here. That's okay. But it's amazing because I can really have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Just like how we're having a conversation right now, we're just chatting. Even before we got started with this, we were having a conversation. That's what it's about. I see a lot of people, they do interviews and they are interviews. Like they have no flow. There's no connection. It's just like question. And that's not what, my brand as, our personality is about, or just as an overall. I don't like feeling like we should be questioning certain things. We should be able to flow. Like if I want to conversations, we of course we ask questions. There's always but what did you do about that? I was like, oh well, I told her that I can't meet tonight because I've got this party to go to, and it's a possible deal on the line. There's always questions within conversation. So why not focus on the fact that it should be a conversation versus an interview? And a lot of people really do like what they get when it comes to my interview conversations, because they get asked questions that, people may not necessarily ask. I'm very knowledgeable. I'm very like, look, let me go through this, and this. I might have known you for 2 years. We might follow each other on socials and everything else, but I always want to make sure that I'm on it. I always want to make sure that even if I'm talking to management that hour before, I want to know how many tracks are on your project. I want to know what your favorite songs are, or if it's the actor. I want to know in advance what were some key things that you liked about filming the movie. I want to know certain things already in advance so that I can make sure that this conversation is what you wanted it to be, versus feeling like, oh well, it was good. I don't want to hear that it was good. I want to hear that it was excellent. I want to hear that it was extremely great. I want to hear those things because I really love it. There's so much, there's an art into every beauty to everything that we do. So you have to appreciate the art and skill set that people take in investment to their dreams. It's a big deal. It's a big thing. I realize that myself. I've spent so much money when it comes to the music side, to the radio side, to the publicity company side, and just really seeing what that is and being in that space with myself and being like, you know what? Not because I felt like it was something that was lacking, but we see so many times that there's so many things lacking. So I guess we could say I saw that it was lacking too, and I was just like, let me just make sure that I'm always on it. But it's an amazing thing, and then I just developed so many different relationships with that, where people feel comfortable to talk more and be like, yeah, let's talk about this. And like I like to also within the interviews, I like to talk about keeping faith. What I'm saying? It's like very important to, address these things and to talk about, get people's perspectives on love and relationships, and really how it connects to their music, really behind the person versus getting behind the artist or the talent. You got to get behind the artist and talent. The actor portion, the artist portion, the writer portion is amazing. But what inspired that? What is your background? What was that? What was that mood? What was that vibe? What was you really gotta get into it in order to do it. Like I said, hearing the response even after sometimes if it's on Zoom or if it's a FaceTime call, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Yeah, keep in touch. Boo, 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 boo. Sometimes the DM exchange is really surprising because you're like, you might send a message and be like, hey, thanks so much. And, it's still coming together. I'm very hard on myself.
And you have a lot that you're doing in terms of the breakdown. You have the music side, you've got your radio stuff going on, you also have your PR. How do you have time for all of it, and how do you figure out that breakdown? What are your priorities when it comes to your work?
Mostly it's myself first. A lot of people will hate to hear that, but you've got to put yourself first in life. So this is how it goes. So me, my Fierce Wings Radio, Urban Fears, then anything else that I come up with along the way comes in that order. And it's a lot of time and it's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of things that I can't do myself. There's like different writing materials that I might give to another writer to do on my behalf, and then I'll just do like the pitching portion of it because I'm always at a rapid speed. I'm like sometimes in pre-production for like IG lives at like 2-3 o'clock, and then I'm looking at graphics in between that time. There's maybe 3 to 5 hours of sleep I might get at best.
Wow.
And that actually does not happen until sunlight, until we see sunlight.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work.
My head is spinning, kind of hearing everything that you do, everything that you figured out and managed to do. It is really amazing. And I'm wondering, young people who might be watching this and who are interested in pursuing a career in the entertainment industry in any of the facets that you're involved with, what advice do you have for them? How do they get started?
My advice is, because I didn't go to college for any of this whatsoever. So, and I'm not saying that to recommend, like, don't go to college. I think college is amazing. That's something that I definitely will be pursuing very soon and actually wanted to do that online because since I'm moving at such a rapid speed, there's no time to actually sit down somewhere because, hey, 11 a.m. class, I might need to be on a flight by 11 a.m. or 6 a.m. There's just not that dedication time of sitting down because there's so much going on. And some people will probably think, why would you want to add extra stress on you when you're already multitasking? Daggone it. If you already know it, you might as well get the degree and show it.
Yeah.
Like there's no point of having this knowledge and just being like, oh, okay, well, I've got it. That formal training is very important. So it's very key. So that's something that I would even recommend, really getting that training, even if you're going to a college and you're getting a certification and you just want to know about it, do that. College is not for everybody. And 9 times out of 10, you can really learn a lot of this stuff that um, are jobs out there in any field, especially the music and entertainment, or like I said, any field, even makeup. It's online at your disposal. We've got YouTube, we've got, Google is so amazing for, navigating us through everything. We can just drop down and be like, okay, ebook here, boom, 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 boom. A lot of people provide these different tools in a more modern, updated version versus what may be in a textbook at school. But honestly, just learning, study the greats. Anybody that has inspired you to want to do it, or where you got that oomph and urge to say, I want to be a painter, I want to be a writer, I want to be a dentist. I mean, when you get into the medical field, it's like that, like you guys are, it's like that, or anybody, it's so much different. That is a more beautiful thing. But even with that, you tap into that feeling, you kind of research. So a lot of research is very necessary. And I would say, don't feel nervous about doing something that people don't think is impossible. This possible. There's a lot of this stuff that I did that nobody think it was possible. The time I met Diddy in Atlantic City at a Dirty Money show, my mom didn't think I was going to meet him. She was like, yeah, right. That day. And I was like, okay. The next day, that day I did. He came in the dressing room. He was grabbing some bottles of Ciroc. He was like, the member on his team was like, are you guys drinking that? And stuff like that. He was like, no, 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 no. The girls were like, no, 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 no. He come in, he can grab it. But nobody knew that he was actually going to come in. So I made my presence known, and I was so professional. And, I just talked. So it just goes back to, being courageous. Anything is possible. So you just got to believe that you can do it and just say, listen, I've looked this up. This how this is done. Let me try to do this. Let me watch this video and just kind of get that experience. And then once you have mastered a little bit of what it is, go out there, network. Networking is such the biggest thing that anybody is going to have to do in any field, because you can't just do one thing in one lane by yourself. I mean, you can, but if it's like a music artist, for example, right? You put your music out there on these distribution platforms. Are you going to connect with people, or are you just going to let it sit there? It's like, do you want to be in touch with the fans? Do you want to, possibly get a manager? These are some things that a lot of people want to get. So just doing the research, like I said, even if it's not going to college, getting a certification, going to different workshops, actually reading, actually watching stuff. Research is so key. Being confident, take a chance on yourself, and invest in yourself is the most important thing of it all. All these CEOs took an investment, so investment is like the biggest thing. Don't be afraid. Bet on yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will.
We're going to ask you about something that's like close to our hearts, which is the cyberbullying side of our organization. So like, especially during this time with COVID and everything going on, people have been on Instagram, on other social media platforms a ton. And of course, there are a lot of positive things that come along with that, but there are also some negative sides, like cyberbullying. People can say some terrible things to people on there. So if you had the chance to speak to someone who has been cyberbullied, what would you say to encourage them?
tune them out, and listen to your heart and follow within. I was cyberbullied a lot during this whole process. It is a crazy thing to say, but there are going to be people who do not want you to win, and there are going to be people that do want you to win. So it does take a lot of time, depending on the person. You know, there's no set time when somebody's going to necessarily know who's for them and who's not for them. But take that extra assessment, and kind of going back to the advice I said about being courageous. You know, just be courageous, just be yourself, be unapologetic, be that unapologetic blonde. I just thought about that. All types of puns, but you know, really be your authentic self. You know, a lot of people are going to say stuff that are going to be hurtful, but you know yourself. So knowing yourself, nothing that anybody say should phase you. But I do realize that there are things that people will say that will phase you. Trust me, I've been there and I've experienced that, and just kind of seeing what that looked like online for me, and just seeing the hateful stuff. Like, I even had friends go into my social media account, and they had the logins, post horrible things. But thinking back to that time and just seeing, you know, people post this and people post that, and it's just like, you have to love yourself. You know, when you love yourself, even if you don't think you're the fly so fly, the cute or the beautiful, love yourself and realize that God created you the way that he saw you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Really stay in your car. Stay in your car and be that beautiful light that you are. It doesn't matter if that person is the handsome of handsome, or if she's the gorgeous of gorgeous. You're beautiful in your own light. So when you realize that, and when you have understanding of, I'm even blessed to even be here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It gives you such an empowering feeling. And honestly, and if you don't think like that, I would suggest maybe training the mind to get to that sense, and getting to that sense of confidence. I was there, but it took me a while to really get here. You know what I'm saying? And it just was those moments where the online cybering was just like enough. I was like, you know what? I can't take it. Like, this is crazy. And I still see things online that people do that is derogatory. At 27, you would think that people would stop, but guess what? It never stops. People are who they are. They will show their hand, and it's just really ridiculous. And you gotta take it for what it is. You can't be upset at it. You just gotta be grateful that, you know what, this might be a moment where God is removing what energy does not need to be here while I'm centered in my purpose. Because once you find your purpose, you don't need to be seeing these negative people. You need to just be seeing the great things about yourself. And yeah, we're all not perfect. I think that's a very important point to even bring up to. We're all not perfect. So you shouldn't even be hard on ourselves in those times where people are saying, oh, he looks like this, she looks like this. Well, they don't do. All that is that. It's just chitter chatter. So be confident in yourself, and just realize that, you know, people are going to say some hurtful things, but guess what? No one can hurt you more than you can actually hurt yourself, and would you allow them to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's incredible advice.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your experience, but it is really encouraging and inspirational to be able to hear about how far you've come since then. The ways that you've allowed that to help build you up and help build up your confidence. It's really admirable. So thank you.
It even inspired a lot of the music. Like, I have a song called "Na Na Na," which is a song directed towards, you know, haters and people saying that, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. He's this, he's that. You think that. It's a response to basically that type of stuff that you experience online, in person, just in life. You know, people are really nasty. So I like to use inspiration in situations, and get inspired in so many different ways, and just apply it. You know, I think that's what a lot of people should do. Don't look down on yourself, because I think it breaks people's characters and spirits down. We see it a lot of times, and it's like, no. you can be great. You are going to be great. I'm rooting for you. And sometimes it takes people in your corner to root for you. But I had people that were rooting for me during those periods of time. And but I'm glad those experiences happened. It's really pushed me to be the person that I am today. And it's helped me to inspire those who are like, hey, I want to do a podcast. Hey, I want to do music. Hey, I really love what you do. Hey, I'm just watching. Hey, I want to start a brand. If we just continue to uplift and encourage each other, even through hard times, especially during these times, and just, periodic, check-in. Hey, how you doing? Hope all is well. And even if it's with an opportunity that you might have for a person and stuff like that, you're being genuinely who you are. When people say that you are persistent and you're genuine as well, people have no problem with supporting what you do and being behind you and saying, hey, I see that David is working and stuff like that. Like let's get behind this, like let's not charge him anything, or let me throw this up on my page, is like that. I had a good friend, Rob Markman, who's known for his work as an artist, but he's a part of the platform Genius. He actually had posted my flyer when I did the Tammy Mac show last week, and I was like, bro, I'm thinking to myself like, whoa, Rob, I know we friends like that, but you just don't expect certain things. But when you're doing good and you're doing good to other people, and you're just spreading that light, and you're giving people their flowers. I think we even see it a little bit with even these verses.
Oh yeah.
Like Erykah Badu and Jill Scott, and even the one that we just saw this past weekend with Ludacris and Nelly, and them, acknowledging, hey, that was my favorite song. I wish this song was mine. And then Ludacris, shouting people out in the comments. It's so important to just uplift, inspire, empower one another outside of just ourselves, and just make everybody feel good, because we can always be somebody. And that's somebody that we wanted to be. I hate when people say that I'm a nobody. You're just not as popular as you want to be. And that's okay. The popular crew is not for everybody. I'm not popular. I'm still fighting, out here for opportunities and fighting for myself and for what I believe in. That's right. And it's going to be a continuation thing.
Mm-hmm. That's all like amazing advice. This feels like a master class, and like how you're figuring life out and figuring the world out. And like, I think everyone will absorb a lot from hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, I hope so. I really want to, my biggest thing is I want to see everybody do good. Even when there's people that do me wrong, I still want to see that person do good, because it might have just been an unfortunate situation where they did you wrong, or where they're not understanding. That's the biggest thing that we all have a problem with, and that's understanding. So if we take a chance we not even take a chance, if we take a moment to understand and just sit there and just kind of talk things through, we'll really be knowledgeable. Nobody wants to have a conversation anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's why, even going back to the interview portion, I just want to make sure that having that conversation is so clear and it's so direct. Communication is so key that a lot of people don't even understand that part. So that's another piece of advice that I would say. Make sure your delivery is on 1,000, with whatever you want to do with yourself as a person, your artistry, your desires, your wants, your needs. Because at some point, once you get that point across, people will respect that and be like, I can't come at this person that way. Mm-hmm. They'll take it for what it is. And if they don't, they're not meant to be a part of your journey. They're meant to, get out of here.
So this is our final question, and one that we've been enjoying kind of being able to ask everyone that we've been talking to recently. So can you tell us, what have you been doing to keep your head up during this pandemic?
Staying busy. Honestly, staying busy. And honestly, just realizing that I've got to stay in my car. I can't focus on too much of what's going on with this whole COVID-19 thing, because it's already affected us enough. So if I continue to drive that in my head, COVID-19 is going on, COVID-19 is going on. Like, I look at the number, like I look at like the statistics and everything. It's kind of weird because I'm not into like that type of stuff at all, but I just like to be like, okay, what's going on with New York? Are we getting a little better here? Are we getting better, New Jersey? How we doing, Pennsylvania? What's shaking? Delaware? I know we're good, but are we still really good? LA, I'm ready to come back. But are we is it okay to come back? So just staying focused and just trying to not lose focus. As you guys mentioned, I've got a lot of different things going on. The music portion is something that's coming this fall, Unapologetic Blonde. That whole album, it's been a long awaited little debut project, but I just want to get it out there. If people love it, they'll get more. They'll probably still get more somehow or another. But even that project is, it's very uplifting. Um it's very healing. It's one of those motivational projects. It is R&B, it is hip hop, it is did I say pop or did I say hip hop? It is pop, it is definitely pop, but it's a story. Anybody that hears it will be inspired. It's not just for the person who got cyberbullied. It's not just about the person who might have lost their mom. It might not be just, it's for everybody. There's something that people can relate to. So going into the fall, I think that it's going to be amazing. There's a lot of positive that should happen during these times. So if we stay productive, we keep our heads straight and just do the things that we can do, because there are things that we can do that can keep us very centered during these times, and just kind of keeping the productivity up there. We don't need to be sitting in the house playing on the Game Boys. We don't have Game Boys no more. Some people have those Game Boys, but we don't need to be on the 2Ks and we don't need to just be lounging. I get that we need rest. Definitely rest. Get your rest. But be productive. Learn those things that you wanted to learn. Tap in a little bit more, and just get into you. Learn some more about yourself. And I think that's another amazing thing that I'm doing. Learning a lot more about myself in complete silence. Keeping busy has been the biggest thing, and just trying to manage all these things that I have at hand, because if I get too focused on, oh my gosh, COVID-19, it's a big thing. Wash your hands, please, be clean, people, wear your mask. Don't have them off, have them on. As long as we stay focused, guys, we will get through it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. I love the sound of that. And I'm excited to hear the album. Yes. We're definitely going to be keeping an eye out for that and when everything happens in the fall. Congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
You guys will be the first ones to know the date. I think it is going to be like October. I've got this weird thing with October that I've been like wanting to do, and I have this date, but I just got to see if it falls on the right day. But I think the numbers are right.
Okay, we're excited.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Thank you so much, David. It was such a pleasure to talk with you and hear about everything that you're doing. And I'm totally inspired hearing your story and how you've been able to create this amazing career and kind of focus on the things that you're passionate about, and how you're still able to really focus on wanting to impact other people in a positive way. That's just incredible.
Yes, thank you so much.
Anytime. Thank y'all. I think it's very necessary for people to hear these type of inspired messages. Like I said, I want everybody to win. Even if I don't know you, I want you to win. There's so much opportunity for everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing that some people fail to understand. A lot of people that have been able to make incredible moves with next to nothing and having not as much knowledge, and just having the, let me just get out there and do it type of spirit. So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and I love what you guys are doing. This is such an amazing platform. I need everybody to, just stay hip to what you guys are doing too.
Well, thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say.